it says. Programming is a fool's errand. Fool's errand. And if like no one else has a bigger checklist than I do, then I'll be the first one to mark off all the checkboxes. Oh, my throat is killing me. So like, I don't know. Everything is just subpar. This font is not pretty. But it's visible. You can actually read it. And then if I change it to like the default font, it's 2026. We've had capture cards for years. And like one thing that like capture cards don't do is they don't capture quality, any of them. It's like nobody's gonna steal a video and then sell it. There's no reason not to like not make hardware. They can't just capture video as it is. It's pathetic. So if I go to like the normal font, see how this is visible right now? It's not pretty, but it works. So I made this font. I'm gonna modify it later today because I am streaming, and there's no point in streaming if you can't read the font. It's like I made this font whatever for like really, really crappy screens. Dot matrix. So I don't know, like the Game Boy, whatever. Like a dot, I guess it's a dot matrix. I thought like a dot matrix was printer. So like on what's the Game Boy default font? That's about just as unreadable as my font. Why is it so blurry? So 7 height, 6 width. I might try download this. And then I'll mess with my font. This might actually work. Because like this is like whatever. Okay, so if I turn off this font, go to like the default font, whatever. And then clearly like everything falls apart. And it's like not even readable. So we go back to my phone, whatever. It's like, ta-da, look. Now it's like still not readable. But at least it's like, it's pixelated, it's blocky, and it's not as fuzzy, whatever. When I get this stupid GPU stuff done, I can send 60 frames a second and then encode 30 of them and then sharpen the picture. So I gotta get this stuff done so I can do that. I'm gonna try to find this Game Boy font because it's easier to like just download and use that. Otherwise I gotta like mess with this font because like the spacing's all messed up. It's like the main thing, I'm gonna have to like leave this off for now. And go to like just whatever font so it's readable. Oh, here. So like this is not readable at all. Or it's just really fucking blurry. Everything's gonna be blurry. Because it's 2026, and that's considered acceptable for capture cards. It's like, yeah, this is a standard. As a consumer, you get trash. Steam, though, Steam's like, they're updating shit. And they're adding like, Steam is like not a shitty company. They're gonna like evaluate a game as it's running and then keep like a public like record, and then you can like look at the game and be like, hey, this game doesn't get the specs that it says it does in the info, and it'll be backed up by the hardware that plays the game. So I don't know, not all companies are garbage, but very few raise the bar. So like this is like shitty, whatever. If I do this, it's still shitty and it's not usable because I gotta mess with the spacing. So I'm gonna like use the other font for a minute and get to programming and then mess with this font. And try to use a font that makes things more visible. Because it's not pretty, but it makes it more visible. That's more difficult to read, so I don't know, whatever. So the parser, whatever. JavaScript has this thing called limitations. And it's pretty impressive how it can be treated like a toy language where it doesn't really have to actually get performance, and it's used for like from everything that like involves security to like actual games. Just JavaScript is a pathetic stain It's terrible. It is so bad. It's not acceptable. So like, performance and JavaScript, they do not go together unless you write your own engine. And the limits are real. So I had to like, doing data driven design in JavaScript makes no sense at all. Nothing makes sense in JavaScript. So what I ended up with, I guess, is I'm still gonna have 4 states where I have a pre, push, post, and pop. And then I'm gonna have it make a list or whatever. I'm gonna use 0 and 1 in the list for bookkeeping, and everything above that will be where the list begins. I'm gonna have a XOR link list for I put in the wrong spot. This should say push, and this should say alright, so I'm gonna end up with a list or whatever. And I'm gonna keep it like I wanna convert this to C after. So I need to keep it simple. So I'm gonna have a linked, not a linked list though. The pre and post will be length based. So everything before push and pop will be length based, but post and then pop are going to be linked list based. So I'm going to use the same structure and then use these fields for different things or whatever. And then I'll have a package here or whatever. I gotta make a status field also. So I also want to like evaluate the text, like if it contains numbers, digits, or spaces. So I gotta add a stat field too. So like blocks are the main thing. I'm gonna like separate the blocks from the rest of the code first, and then I'll deal with like organizing the output. Separating a parser into multiple like stages or whatever is like annoyingly complicated. So like 4 states: pre, push, post pop. So like in a program, you have blocks or regions, whatever you want to call it. That's like groupings of things depending on the type of region it is. So like there's like strings, or I guess like separate domains. Or you could call it like a Venn diagram. Because somehow everyone understands Venn diagrams. It's like a string. Starts and ends with quotes, whatever. So that's like in a Venn diagram form, whatever. Like this. So that's my string, region or zone, or whatever you want to call it, domain. And then blocks, curly braces. That's typically for like an if else statement. You put the code in between. So I put that here. It's like another region if it's like a Venn diagram. There's also like square braces or whatever you want to call them. So if I make like a separate Venn diagram, circle, whatever, then that's like that, whatever. So what happens is like inside of a string, it can contain these or these or even these. And the only way to differentiate is based on the rules of the parsing. In the rules when parsing, I mean it's rules. It's logic. Except a very few programmers, they don't understand a thing called logic. So they make very crappy compilers. Like the V8 JavaScript engine compiler, or even GCC or Microsoft Visual Studio. They make really, really not very good designed compilers because they don't know what they're doing. They don't understand how what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. Alright, so since it's possible, this isn't really a Venn diagram. More like a domain, region, whatever chart. So I don't know. A string that contains strings. Usually there's like an escape character before it. So it's not really a string inside of a string. But it is technically whatever. So I don't know. This is like the first problem when parsing whatever, or lexicanizing, whatever you want to call it. You gotta like separate the separate domains. And this is like Visual Studio. It really sucks ass. It is terrible. I mean, Microsoft makes money off selling the operating system, and their software cannot be worse. Linux is free. And they do pretty good for something that's free. But Microsoft, there's no excuse. You guys are pathetic. Straight up. The dumbest, just man. Microsoft is not doing something right. If you want to start a business and make a failing business, if that was your goal, then like, you should do what Microsoft does. Because Microsoft is up to tons of stuff. I think it's in their interest because their goal is to make money, but it doesn't really seem to be in their interest because they just fuck themselves over. So I don't know, what do I know? Alright, so like to separate these states, since there's like clear rules in the language and how it's set up, or typically whatever. I got like 4 states: pre-push, post-pop. So in the pre-state or whatever, or stage or whatever, I'm like evaluate the tokens. I'm trying to like separate the blocks or the regions or the domains or whatever, this stuff first. I want to get it marked or whatever. So if I make a structure with these 4 things, I wanted to keep it data driven. But JavaScript is a joke. JavaScript is so bad. Oh my god. It is so bad. The people that develop JavaScript, standard or not, the standard does slow the language down. And the standard does have dumb stuff. But the design of JavaScript is so poorly designed. It's not even funny. It is pathetic, actually. So, like, I can't realistically have a data-driven, like, what I want or whatever. So I'm gonna simplify to, like, one big, like, array. And use separate fields for different parts to represent different things depending on whatever. So if I make, like, a structure whatever, with these 4 properties, or states or whatever. The people that work on the V8 JavaScript engine, I'd be surprised if they can count to 4. I'd be, like, genuinely surprised. You'd be like, holy crap, you can count to the number 4. But you can't make a functional, performant JavaScript engine. And you treat it like a toy language. And it's like, hey, it's acceptable, it's web design. I mean, we have no expectations here in web design. The whole goal here is to, like, keep everyone in developer hell. So we can, like, push forward our browser, collect user information, sell it back to you, and keep everything in the state that it's in. Because nothing needs to advance. Why would it have to? I mean, everybody enjoys it right now, how bad it is. So let's just keep it going. Who wants to jump on the fucking keep it is as it is, because it is what it is train? You know, that train can go fuck itself. That train is done. And like Steam releasing updates, or they found in the updates that they're gonna like implement this new feature where they like evaluate the game and then they have like actual stats, so you can look at the like actual performance of the game and compare it to like what the developer says that the performance will be. That's like a whole new terrain. So they're doing the right thing. So it's not all companies, it's just some of them. So like when I get my JavaScript engine done, I think Steam will be like one of the companies I back. Because they're not that bad. Like all companies have to make money. That's the whole point of being a business. But like Google. I don't know, yeah. Steam, though, they'd be like a company worth backing. So if we make this like a struct, then the struct has like 4 properties. So like in a file, whatever, man, these fonts all suck. If I have like 4 states, I can use pre to hold the length before the push. So all I care about right now is the domains or whatever, or the blocks. So if I was parsing, I'm like right here. Forget those are there. If I'm parsing, I'm like right here. Then that's like character J, whatever. So that's not a block. So it means I can like count from this point. So J, H, S, H, A, H, D, and then a space, 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 colon, semicolon. And I hit a block on this line. So I can save this length. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Just say it's 12. If this is 12, that's not 12, but whatever. Let me put 12 here. And then, except the whole point of like a lexical analyzer is like split it up, so I wouldn't put 12 there. Instead, I'd split up like this. 7. Let's say it's at 6, whatever. So if this is 6, and this is like 2 spaces, and then this semicolon is 1. The semicolon is more like a decoration. It's not really the ending, whatever. So I don't know, whatever. It does like separate scope, but not in the same way. So I'm not sure if the semicolon, I'm going to treat it as like one of these, whatever. Or if I'm like, just treat it as like text. So like, instead of doing like 11 or whatever, this adds up to 9 though. Alright, so instead of that, I'm going to split up into 3 separate tokens or whatever. So 6, 2, 1. And these are all pre, because they're things that happen before the push state. We got 6 characters. 2 and then 1. And this next character is one of the black ones. So I'll save a push or whatever. So I need 2 like linked lists. Not linked lists, but like things in this list beforehand. Alright, so like the pre for bookkeeping would be where the text starts from. Alright, you know what, that doesn't matter. So like this state, first scope, not scope, block, domain, whatever region. Everything before it is pre. So 621. Those are our length. So wherever the file starts at, well, I guess like that's what goes here. So if I'm going to begin parsing the file for whatever reason, at this many characters in, ignore all this. Let's say it's like 20 characters, doesn't, just whatever. I put 20 here. This is 0. Alright, so 0. The very first. So the text starts at like 20 offset for pre before the very first push. And the push is like one of these. So this is the first push. So after I'm done with this list, I gotta like parse it or like organize it and like separate the tokens and like evaluate it. So first push whatever is then at like 6 plus 2 plus 1, which is 9 whatever. So I don't need to save that. And it has no pre. So I just won't save that. I need another data field for package whatever. They can hold I don't know, whatever. Hold extra info about it. To say like, oh, it's like this, it's a curly brace, whatever. So 0th 1 is going to hold node 5 in the list. This goes to this one. So it's not based on text, it's based on the item in the list. But then this is based on the text in the file, the length. I probably do need to save the length here. Just say it's one character. So this adds up after it. I guess okay, whatever. Alright then, after that is some spaces. Or just a new line. Say it's 1. Assuming this is like a new line. And then the pre for this is like 6 characters. And then there's whatever. More text after that. So like, okay, but then these actually go here. Oh, this is the closing of the block, not the opening. So I was going to be clever with 4 different states. If there was, this will take way too long to describe. I just gotta type it up. Except these I was gonna put here. In the post length. Because they're like within a token or like a domain or region. But not exactly in this example. So I want to like be able to like identify if something is like before or in between these domains. And then like if I multi-thread it, I would have like the main thread or one of the threads, or it could work with a combination. All read from the same data, except each thread could work on a different distinguishable block of like area of one region. So like pre is everything before. Push is when it pushes a block. If it's like a block, whatever, curly brace. And then post is everything after. And then pop is when it pops a block. So I don't know, I have like a couple different ideas. I might have to change this again, but this seems like it might work. If it doesn't, I'll just change it up until I get what I need. Alright, so you can see like this, whatever. Like a line there, whatever. This means that like everything before it, everything that is a block, everything between and the closing are all like separated. So if I like multiply this to like 2, 3, 4, whatever, but let's say this is like this domain instead. So instead of this kind of like domain, if it's like this one, different rules, whatever, but it's still domain. It's still like a partitioned area, whatever. Then this is all the same, logically. So now in this case, everything in between is whatever it is. But that's everything that's in the post. Everything that's before it, it might be like an equal sign. There might not be an equal sign. There might be nothing, might be just space in a new line. Maybe it's like an attribute at the top of like a block or a function. Maybe it's like a function call and it's like a tag and there is no like equal sign in front of it. And then the function's like here, whatever. But there might be white space, so that still takes up space in the pre. If there's like 4 spaces, whatever, that'd be 4 here. So like this way, I have I think this is a good way to organize it. And if I thread it later, I can say one thread works on this area or this block, which would be from push to pop. and then the one before, or all the ones before the last pop or whatever. And then each thread is guaranteed to work on actual valid work. And it can have its own token table. Now, like Microsoft is retarded. They make so much money, and they don't know what they're doing. Does Microsoft use multiple threads to parse files? They probably don't, because they're retarded. They're not even retarded, they're idiots. Even a retard, someone with like a mental disability, it doesn't mean they're stupid. I bet Microsoft could hire, like McDonald's. You know how McDonald's hires people with like mental disabilities? Microsoft could hire people with mental disabilities, and Microsoft would probably advance. Their software would probably get better if they hired people with mental disabilities rather than hiring the idiots that they currently hire. Microsoft should look into that. Because Microsoft, god damn. Alright, anyways. That's what I'm trying to set up. So I'm gonna see if I can find the Game Boy font and install that. You know what, I'm gonna get to work, and if the screen's blurry, then it's blurry. At some point, I'll be able to like walk through step by step and explain and type it up in one go. I gotta like come up with a concept that's gonna work in JavaScript, because JavaScript is pathetic. They don't know V8, whatever. They don't know how to program. And this engine that they have is pathetic. You can't do anything in this crap. Well, you can, but you're very limited. So I gotta like figure out what works, what doesn't. So I think this setup will work though. And it should stage and scale as needed or whatever. So I'm gonna get some water and then like shut up and get something done. I don't know, it's where I'm at, whatever. I could complain about JavaScript, but I'm not going to. It's not worth it. JavaScript added arrays, and they have like you can have an array slice or whatever, and you can point to it. But the extra like the gotchas are so frustrating that it's not even worth it. So I'm not even gonna bother to whatever. I'm gonna get some water and then shut up and get something done. Yeah, that's the plan. Everything is so stupid. It is so much more work than anything needs to be. It's ridiculous.